Ubisoft has rounded up its financial results for both the third quarter of its 2018-19 fiscal year and the first 9 months of that period, calling out specifically that its games delivered a solid performance in a quarter when, as expected, competition was particularly fierce. For that 9-month period, Ubisoft recorded $1.32 billion, $49 billion in sales and $1.35 billion, $53 billion in net bookings. As sales plus deferred revenue from live games, net bookings alone saw a 13.5% increase over the $1.34 billion recorded during the same period last year. Digital continues to take up a growing chunk of overall net bookings. Last year, digital net bookings were responsible for 56.3% of net bookings for the first 9 months of the year. This time around, that share has grown to 66.4%, or $897.8 million for that 3-quarter-long period. Net bookings sourced from Ubisoft's back catalog of past releases also saw a boost this year. Back catalog titles brought in $842,952.5 million in the first 9 months of the year.
UP38
6% from the 2017-18 year, and were responsible for 62.3% of total net bookings. Net bookings for the quarter, meanwhile, fell by 16.4% from last year's numbers, but still managed to exceed Ubisoft's earlier projections. For Q3, net bookings came in at $605.8,684.6 million, just slightly beating the $600,678 million target set for the quarter. The company touts strong player engagement as one noticeable sign that its games had some staying power throughout a competitive holiday season. For last quarter's release Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Ubisoft leadership says they charted a rise in things like days played and overall completion numbers, factors that they believe reflect well on the decision to take the long-running series in a more RPG-inspired direction. Rainbow Six Siege, a 2015 release and ever-present force in Ubisoft's catalog, has seen consistent growth on the year-over-year increase in revenue. Even as a premium title, Ubisoft notes that the bulk of Rainbow Six Siege's revenue comes from DLC sales. The game currently has 45 million players, and the company does not expect a rising competition in the genre to hurt the game's player base. When there is something new on the market, especially shooter games, they go and explore and then they come back, explained Ubisoft CEO Gamasutra in an earnings call. The company is looking to bring Siege over to China in the future as well. The Epic Game Store, or rather Ubisoft's decision to move the division from Steam to Epic's new platform, was another topic brought up a couple times during that earnings call. In response to a question about the risks of skipping Steam, Gamasutra said that the revenue boost is being seen on sales, both from the Epic Game Store and increased traffic on its own Play platform, has been a beneficial result so far. I think the Epic deal is a deal that was important for us, said Gamasutra, because it really helped us to do actually more of our business on our own store and have a better revenue per unit sold. He says it's difficult to say the exact impact the decision has had quite yet, but that pre-orders so far have been promising. The deal itself sees the PC version of the division to launching only on the Epic Game Store, with the Play integrations on the platform's generous revenue share model, and Ubisoft's store So far, with 1 month left before its release, Ubisoft says The Division 2 has already built in pre-orders for the original The Division. Oxford Internet Institute Director of Research and Lead Researcher Andrew Przybylski details the findings of the study. Researchers at the University of Oxford's Oxford Internet Institute have published the findings of a study into the relationship between aggressive behavior in teens and violent video games, finding that, in short, no link exists. The study's subject itself is not no ground, by any means. But Oxford researchers say that their case has a few notable differences from past studies that, according to the university, make it one of the most definitive to date. The paper, which can be found in its entirety on Royal Society Open Science, collected data from a representative sample of British 14 and 15-year-olds, as well as from their caretakers, totaling 2,008 participants in all. Both parties answered a series of questions provided by researchers, with the teenaged participants answering the questionnaire on their personality and video game habits, while caretakers answered the strengths and difficulties questionnaire. Games were also classified according to PAL ratings, rather than participant-defined content descriptions, following a pre-registered analysis plan. Multiple regression analyses tested the hypothesis that recent violent gameplay is linearly and positively related to care assessments of aggressive behavior, reads the paper. Results did not support this prediction, nor did they support the idea that the relationship between these factors follows a non-linear parabolic function. There was no evidence for a critical tipping point relating violent game engagement to aggressive behavior. The researchers also note that, unlike other studies on the subject, they opted to publicly pre-register their hypothesis, methods, and analysis technique before starting in on the research itself in order to prevent personal bias from playing a part in the findings. Our findings suggest that researcher biases might have influenced previous studies on this topic, and have distorted our understanding of the effects of video games. Co-author Drive, Nat Weinstein told Oxford, video game development teams have always been known for being multidisciplinary, conformed by people from different departments. Learning to communicate and understand each other is a continuous work in progress. However, there might be external collaborators who are not always around, and communicating with them is even more complicated, such as the tale of musicians versus developers. In our studio, we do not have any kind of sound designer, nor composer, so when we are developing a project, we have to rely on a professional studio. Just like we did on Mucho Taco, where we found allies with Soundscape Studio. The musical composition of a game differs with that of any other piece of media, and it is wise to keep in mind the following considerations. All these considerations were shared with Soundscape when we showed them the project and the art we had of it. They also played the demo version of the game. We shared some music tracks from different media, TV shows, movies, games, that we thought could serve as inspiration. Using that information as a reference, the Soundscape team built different inspirational pieces to find the core concept for what would later become the main theme for the game. Here's one of them. You can listen to the tracks on the link at the bottom. Once both our teams settled on a melody, we'd explain to the musicians how the tracks had to be exported. Communication between the programmer and the musician was going to be an arduous task. So I realized we would most definitely need a diagram to visually represent the game flow and the exact moment where each track should be played. I started to build my own nomenclature so programmers and musicians could understand each other, and the result, after some iterations, was this. Complementary information for music frames displays the intro and outro behaviors of a track frame, a theme frame. For example, this is the music diagram for Muchotoko as main theme, a theme frame that loops indefinitely, which is composed of another theme frame and a track frame, idle song, flute song, normal song. You can listen to the tracks on the link at the bottom. The track order is as follows. Flute song, normal song, flutes, song, normal song, idle song, idle song,